Good morning, boys and girls. It is Monday, and since it is Monday, normally on Mondays we have play school, so I wanted to come today and teach you a little bit about our letter of the week that we're going to be learning about this week. So it is just such a beautiful fall day. It's cool and the fall leaves are so pretty, so I just thought I would sit outside. It's a little bit breezy. But this week, our letter that we're going to be learning about all week is letter I. And I is a pretty easy letter to write. The capital I is just a straight line down. In fact, it looks a lot like the number 1. So capital I is just a straight line down. And then a lowercase I is just a little bit smaller. If we had that dotted line for writing, it would only be the bottom half. And you just do a straight line down. And then you give it a little dot, and that is the lowercase I. We remember that we use capital letters when we write a name of a person or a place. We use capital letters when we start a sentence. And then we use lowercase letters in the middle of words and to start words that aren't names, just regular words like igloo or ice cream. We would start those with a lowercase letter. So I is a very special letter. It is one of only a few that are called vowels. We have talked about vowels already this year because we've already learned about A and E that are vowels, and now we have I. And vowels are special for a couple of reasons. First of all, every word in the whole wide world has at least one vowel. A lot of words have more than one vowel. So there is a vowel in every single word in the whole wide world. So that makes them pretty special. And then vowels are also special because they make two sounds. They always make at least two sounds. They can say their name. So I can say I, like in ice or in icicle, or I'm trying to think of a word that doesn't have ice. I'll have to think about that for a minute. And it can also say like igloo and insect. Okay, so it has a long sound where it says its own name, I, and then it has a short sound where it says okay, like icky. So we have 5 vowels, sometimes 6, but the main vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. We haven't gotten to O and U yet. And then sometimes Y can be a vowel, but that's kind of a special one. So let's review. Do you remember letter A? It makes 2 sounds. It has a long sound where it can say its own name, so it can say A, like Amy, or it can say like Addison and Abby. All right, and then we had E, and E has a long sound. It can say its own name. It can say E, like eagle, or equal, when we count and we're the same number, equal. Or E can have a short sound, and it can say oh, it's really getting windy out here, like elephant or extra. So that's E. And then we have I. I, like I said, says I, like ice, or it can say like igloo. All right, so a lot of times vowels can start words, like my name Amy starts with a vowel, and Addison and Abby start with a vowel. But a lot of times vowels are kind of stuck in the middle of words. And so I have a book today called Tiny Tiger. And this book is all about the long I sound, the I saying its name, saying I. So, but it's not at the beginning of a lot of these words, it's in the middle. So do you hear it in tiny, tiny, and then tiger? You can hear that long I. So we're gonna read this book, Tiny Tiger, and we're just gonna point out the places where we hear that long I sound. So, Tiny Tiger is so shy, he wishes he had friends. Oh my, you see him there on his bike? The other kids just pass him by. They do not see poor Tiny cry. Oh, he's sad because he has no one to play with. He sees the others ride on bikes. Now there's a word with the long I, ride and bike. You hear the I? He sees the others hike on hikes. There's another I sound. He sees the others slide on slides. You hear those long I's? Tiny sees them while he hides. Oh, see him hiding back there behind the tree? Whoops. Riley Lion blinks his eyes. Now Riley has a long I sound. Do you hear it? Riley. And then lion also. Lion. Riley Lion blinks his eyes. He thinks he knows why Tiny cries. Riley's kind and very wise. If he can help a friend, he tries. I hear lots of long I sounds there. Hi there, Tiny. Riley smiles. I've been watching you a while. I've seen you hide. I've seen you cry. I've seen that you are very shy. If you're shy, you don't like to be around other people. I was once as shy as you. I'll help you if you want me to. But first, I'd like for you to try a slice of Simon's ice cream pie. Ooh, lots of long I's there. Did you hear the I in Simon and ice and pie? All of those have that long I sound. A slice of pie at Simon's shop? Tiny gives a happy hop. I think he's happy about getting a slice of pie. Simon asks, what kind of pie? The ice cream pie is their reply. The pie arrives, it's pink and white. With great delight, they take a bite. They talk and talk, they eat their pie. With Riley, Tiny is not shy. See him there sitting at the table eating pie and talking? Riley smiles. There's another I smiles. His smile is wide, and Tiny feels the smile inside. Tiny says, you are so nice. Can you help me with some advice? Advice is when you tell somebody something that might help them. Riley says, I can help you. There are 2 things that you can do. When kids you know come talk to you, talk back to them and smile some too. Tiny Tiger says, I'll try. I'll talk and smile. I won't be shy. Thank you, Riley, Tiny cries. Then Tiny gives his friend high fives. There's 2 more long I's, high and five. Both of those have the I sound in the middle. Goodbye, he calls. He flies outside, and Riley's eyes are filled with pride. He hopes that he has helped Tiny Tiger. Tiny thinks, now I must try my friend's advice. I won't be shy. Uh-oh, here comes a friend. You think he's going to be able to not be shy? Mike, the panther, says, hi, Tiny. Tiny smiles. His smile is shiny. Tiny then replies, hi, Mike. Would you like to try my bike? Tiny Tiger smiles with pride as he and Mike ride side by side. Ooh, Tiny Tiger tried Riley's advice and he made a friend, didn't he? He made a friend, Mike the Panther. All right, that had lots of words that had that long I sound. Okay, ooh, I hear an airplane or a helicopter out here. All right, the next story that I brought is kind of just for fun. It does have a character whose name starts with I. His name is IQ, and that's the name of this little mouse right here. This book is titled IQ Goes to School, and it is written by Mary Ann Frazier, and I think she drew the pictures too, so she's the author and the illustrator. So, IQ goes to school. Let's see what he does at school. All right, we start the school year in September. So here he is in his little cage. He's like the class pet. IQ came to school on the first day. Children, said Miss Ferber, the teacher, this is IQ. He is our class pet. But IQ didn't want to be a class pet. He wanted to be a student, like the other boys and girls in the class. Every day he watched and listened. You see him sitting there in his cage watching Miss Ferber and the other students. When Miss Ferber read a book, IQ sat quietly with his hands in his lap. Some books made him laugh and some made him cry, but he loved them all. Miss Ferber said that everyone needed exercise. When the children went outside to recess, like to the playground where we go, IQ, he couldn't go outside, so he ran on his exercise wheel. You see him running in circles? Every Monday, Miss Ferber picked the student of the week. That's kind of like we do when someone brings back Mallory. We read their spotlight booklet. That's like them being the student of the week. That student got to sit in a special chair and bring in things for share the entire week. Miss Ferber picked Holly's name first. You see Holly there in the chair? IQ wondered when it would be his turn to be student of the week. All right, after September comes October. That's the month we just had. That's the month of Halloween and fall. In October, the class learned the alphabet. Look, they're learning their ABCs just like we are. When everyone went home, IQ hummed the alphabet song to himself. Then he didn't feel so lonely. During the last week of October, the class cut out decorations for Halloween. IQ had trouble using scissors. It would be hard for a little mouse to use scissors, wouldn't it? So he made his decorations out of tissues and string. Can you see what he made? He made some little ghosts to decorate his cage. The other kids had cut out pumpkins and faces and made jack-o'-lanterns, but IQ couldn't use the scissors very well. Do you know what month comes after October? It's the month we're in now. It's November. In November, the class learned the names of all the colors in the rainbow. You guys already know these colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. IQ tried to color his own rainbow, but the crayons were too big. Yeah, his little mouse paws couldn't hold a big crayon, could they? So he finger painted a rainbow instead. Do you see his rainbow that he's painted? And then the class is going to learn about Thanksgiving just like we have. And this is the big Mayflower ship that the Pilgrims came over on. And they're going to put on a class play about that. So IQ had a small role in the Thanksgiving play. On the night of the performance, he played his part with lots of emotion. Do you see him there in the spotlight? And at the end, he took a big bow. IQ still wondered when he would be student of the week. All right, so that was November in the school. After November comes December, and December is the month where we have the holidays and we learn about Christmas. By December, IQ could count to 10 on his toes. Look, he has 10 toes just like we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Danielle, Tim, and Jonathan shared their different holiday traditions and talked about their plans for winter break. IQ worried that he would spend his vacation all alone at school. That would be kind of lonely, wouldn't it? But Mrs. Ferber asked, who would like to take IQ home for the holidays? Nearly everyone raised their hands. Look, everybody wants to take IQ. Mrs. Ferber chose Stephanie, who was sitting quietly. IQ's vacation was everything he hoped it would be. Let's see what he does. Look, he's drinking hot cocoa, but he's drinking it out of a little thimble because he's so little. And here he made a little snowman mouse in the window, and he even got a present. His present was that thimble. So he got to have some fun over his holiday break too. All right, after December, we start a new year, and that is the month of January. So in January, after New Year's Day, Stephanie returned IQ to the classroom. He used the treats that Alex sneaked him. It looks like Alex has been sneaking him some sunflower seeds to learn about more and equal. Remember, equals the same. He's got the same number of seeds on both sides. Less, see, here's 1, and 1 is less than 3. And 0. You know why he had 0? He ate them all. Now his tummy's full. Writing was much harder to learn. Even though IQ practiced holding his pencil, his letters were messy. It is hard to hold a big pencil when you're a little mouse, isn't it? All right, so after January comes February, and February is the month of Valentine's Day. So in February, IQ made Valentines for all of the other students and an extra special one for Mrs. Ferber. He was afraid that children might think he was the teacher's pet, so he didn't sign his name. IQ still hadn't been Student of the Week. In February, we have a special holiday called President's Day, and we sometimes learn about some famous presidents in the past, like George Washington, who was our first president, and Abraham Lincoln. So that's what the kids at Miss Ferber's class had been learning about. So after learning about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, IQ decided that he wanted to be the president when he grew up. Then he could have his own special chair and a desk to go with it. He's dreaming about being the president of the United States. I don't think we can have a mouse as a president. All right, after February comes the month of March. And in March, we have a holiday called St. Patrick's Day, where we wear green and we hang up shamrocks. In March, the class studied shapes. IQ found more circles, squares, and rectangles in the classroom than anyone else. And I bet if you look, you can see some shapes. You see the circles there and the shapes hanging from the ceiling. The clock is a circle. IQ found the most circles. Look here, they have the days of the week, and those are on rectangle pieces of paper. On St. Patrick's Day, the children found little green footprints all around the classroom. Do you see them? They're on top of the tables and on the floor and over the easel. Who do you think made those? They thought leprechauns had come to visit. Miss Ferber had her own suspicions. I think maybe Miss Ferber knows that IQ got into the green paint. All right, after March comes the month of April, and by April and mid-spring, IQ could read some words. He could read hat, bat, and cat. For science, the class planted seeds to watch them grow. The class couldn't figure out why IQ's seeds never grew. Look real closely at that picture. Can you figure out why his didn't grow? I think his didn't grow because he ate the seed. All right, after April comes May. May's getting towards the end of the school year. In May, the class went on a field trip to the zoo. IQ was not allowed to go. He thought it was because he did not bring a signed permission slip. And then when the children got back, they drew pictures of their trip to the zoo. They drew the different animals they saw, like the giraffes and the elephants and the lions. IQ was sure it was his turn to be student of the week, but by the end of the month, Miss Ferber still hadn't called his name. Poor IQ, will he get a turn? After May comes the month of June, and June is the last month of school. There was only one more week of school left. Maybe Miss Ferber forgot to put my name in the Student of the Week bowl, thought IQ. He decided not to take any chances. Look what he's doing. He's using his pencil. He's going to write his own name on a slip of paper and put it in the bowl. On Monday, Miss Ferber reached in the bowl and pulled out a name. This week's Student of the Week is, do you know whose name she's going to pull out? IQ? Finally, IQ had his turn to sit in the special chair and share with the class. There he is. And he had his own bulletin board. It's all the things he's made. There's his rainbow that he painted. Here's his picture he drew from the zoo trip, even though he didn't get to go. And there's some Valentines he made and his family picture that he drew. Finally, it was IQ's turn. On the last day of school, the class had a party. The children talked about their plans for summer vacation. IQ was worried. He didn't have any plans. Where is IQ going for the summer? The children asked. Miss Ferber smiled. I will be working at a summer camp, and IQ is going to be the camp pet. But IQ already knew he didn't want to be the camp pet. He wanted to be a camper. Look, he's going to want to do all the things that the campers do, like backpacking and fishing and rowing in a boat. That was kind of silly, wasn't it? A class pet doesn't really talk and do all those things that IQ did. So we know that this book is fiction. It's just made up for fun. All right. Well, that was my I stories, boys and girls. Remember that I is our letter this week, and I has two sounds. It can say I, like IQ, or it can say like insect or igloo. So I want you to remember that, and hopefully we're going to get to learn about I more later this week. I hope you have a great Monday. I hope you enjoy this beautiful day outside. Maybe you'll get to do something fun, and I hope to be able to see you soon. Bye.